Hello, everybody, and welcome to Browns Rapid React. I'm Jeff Rich with More Than a Fan, and we're here on October 26th, 2014, breaking down the Cleveland Browns victory by the count of 23-13 over the Oakland Raiders on Sunday at First Energy Stadium. And I think it's safe to say, Browns fans, maybe it's time we lower our expectations on this team. Maybe injury has devastated this team too much. They lost Jordan Cameron today. They lost potentially John Hughes today. And, while those injuries aren't devastating in and of themselves, you have to look at this Cleveland Browns team. You have to look at these depth charts, and you have to say, who else, who's up next, and can we get away with it? It's tough to say. I got to say, this first half did not inspire me on Cleveland Browns football. That Mike Pettin has this team where they were even 2 weeks ago, that they've turned the corner. Another game against a winless team. Fortunately, the Browns come away without letting them celebrate, any kind of milestone victory, for their first of 2014. The Oakland Raiders, not a good football team. Derek Carr, probably going to be a good player down the road, but they just don't have the pieces right now. It's kind of piecemeal. They have, James Jones and from Green Bay, and Tompkins from the Patriots. And it's just a really really incomplete team, and that's I think that Tony Soprano wouldn't tell you any differently. This is what they're dealing with right now, and it is what it is. So they're going to get through this season. They'll probably draft in the top 5 once again, and there's got to be hope down the road for the Oakland Raiders, if only from addition by subtraction by losing the old man, and he's been gone for a little while now. So, but same old Oakland Raiders look like the same old Cleveland Browns there in the first half. Can't get in the end zone, can't really do anything with the ball. Turnovers help them out. I don't know how much you want to call the was it even a fake field goal? Whatever it was, when Matt Schaub took the snap, fumbled it, heaved it up. Tayshaun Gibson picked it off. Ran it back, set up the Browns for set up a Browns field goal. They go up 6-0 early. They really could have put their foot on the gas. They really could have pulled away with this game, but they couldn't run the ball. I mean, what was it? 5 carries right out of the gate. Ben Tate, 5 carries for either negative or 0 gain. Isaiah Crowell and Terrence West, not too much better either. So, definite deficiencies on the offensive line. And the story of the game would be, how's Nick McDonald going to do? They start McDonald on the line so that Greco can get back in over there at right guard. And in the running game, it didn't help at all. In fact, in the passing game, Brian Hoyer still doesn't look like the guy that frankly Cleveland fell in love with. So he's got some work to do before they play Tampa Bay in a week. Everybody's happy when you come away with a win. I think Ben Tate had 15 carries, 26 yards on the touchdown. Obviously not what they signed him to do, but it was enough. 14 points in the fourth quarter to close it out, go up 23-6. You'd rather they not allow that final touchdown of the game from Oakland, but at that point the game was already over anyway. So it looked like Tony Sparano didn't try to get anyone hurt at the end of the game. Looked like Sebastian Janikowski just booted the ball straight out of bounds, kind of feigned the onside kick there at the end. So 23-13, a little closer than this game was, or perhaps right on the money. When the Browns went up 16-6, it wasn't over until they did that. So those fourth quarter touchdowns, the throw by Brian Hoyer, the run by Ben Tate, definitely necessary to put the game away. But for much of the game, you were saying same old Browns, same old Raiders, to be fair, but also the same old Browns playing a 9-6 game. I looked at it as a game that they very easily could have lost 13-9. So getting the timely turnover, Joe Hayden with the nice run back, Gibson with a nice run back. Still haven't figured, and Billy Cundip's not missing field goals. That's good. That's a good thing too. I'm looking at this team, they're the quick hitter team. It doesn't look like they're going to sustain drives. Miles Austin made an excellent third down catch today, to really put the game on ice and let the Browns run the clock out at the end. Taylor Gabriel, catch and run. Hawkins catch, a couple catches and runs from Hawkins. I thought Hawkins looked pretty good today. For the role that he's here to play. They're 7 games in, so three more games without Josh Gordon. Let's see if they can tread water. Let's see if they can get to that Cincinnati game at 5-3. Bengals pull one out today against Ravens, so the division looks like Pittsburgh's going to pull it out against Indianapolis here. So the division's not going anywhere. These teams are going to win ahead of them, so they can't take these games against Tampa Bay, Oakland, and Jacksonville lightly. 2 of those games obviously already in the books, but what you want to see from this team is you want to see how healthy Jordan Cameron on the field. Hopefully the head injury, I haven't heard anything about it. I've been kind of in the dark out here in Arizona as far as what's going on with Jordan Cameron. My phone died, so I haven't been up with social media or any of the updates. So that might be a situation he knows okay, or is worse than we're hoping it is. As far as the running game, just nothing going across the board. They're either going to have to neutralize the fact that they don't have good center play right now or good offensive line play on the whole, or it's just time to get used to losing more games. Tampa Bay won another game today in overtime, or actually no, Tampa Bay lost. Tampa Bay lost on the Anthony Barr fumble return by a count of 19-13. So they're going to come in as a 1-win team, but that 1 win is over Pittsburgh. That's they went in and did something the Browns didn't do, and that's to go into the House of Horrors there in Pittsburgh and come away with a victory. So the Browns have their work for them. To win a game in the National Football League, it's it's obviously an accomplishment. You don't celebrate too hard over wins over Oakland. Brian Hoyer, he's not going to keep these Johnny Manziel folks at bay if he keeps playing like this. His final numbers ended up being all right, but he got outplayed by Derek Carr. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. The Browns on defense, I thought they stepped up. I thought that Buster Screen played a good game. I thought we finally saw the merits of a $60 million man at corner from Joe Hayden. I thought it was interesting on consecutive plays. We saw McFadden being taken down or really trucking Mingo and Hayden down the field, and the next play they wrap him up. So a little bit of SEC on SEC crime going on there in that Browns Raiders game today, but on the whole, doing just enough to win. It's not inspiring. I don't think that they can beat Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, or Baltimore with play like this. They got to play Buffalo, and who's 5-3 now. They've got to play Indianapolis, who took a beating from Pittsburgh, but really hung in there. The Browns, what they haven't done this year is play a 60-minute game. Another thing that they haven't done all year is return punts particularly well. I was really proud when I got to see Travis Benjamin actually catch one and return one. And then he tried it a second time and fumbled the ball, and the Browns ended up back on the ball. But this punt return game, it's going to hurt them. This is a game of field position, and especially if they can't, pick up chunks of yards on the ground. What happened there? I mean, is it just the offensive line? I don't know. I'm assuming that it is. I would assume that they didn't just forget how to run the zone blocking scheme. That Ben Tate and Terrence West and Isaiah Crowell didn't forget how to run. But I think that's the secret, is to put it on Hoyer and force him to go to guys like Austin and Gabriel and Barnage and Dre, especially if you don't have Cameron on the field. I did like that they went to Cameron early and often. Didn't work out too well. Cameron ended up having a couple catches, including the big one before he got hurt. Head injuries, you don't want to mess around with him. It looked like, without question, he felt that he had his bell rung, and I'd rather, take the precautions, take him out in a game that they won anyway, and go forward from there. 2 for 12 on third down. That's not cutting it, Brian Hoyer. You got to be better than that. Otherwise, you're going to find somebody that might be better than that. And, I think everybody knows who I'm talking about there. Just getting the first down, getting the first downs, throwing the ball, it's catching a lot of catch and run, try to find these guys downfield. But there were a lot of plays that could have been worse than they were. I think that Oakland, I don't want to say that they gifted the game to the Browns, but Oakland did a lot of things that you tend to expect from an now 0-7 football team. Hey, Billy Cundiff put the ball through the uprights. Nothing wrong with that. You obviously try not to win games 9-6. Getting the touchdowns at the end. You want to see them finish off drives, and that's been the disappointing part. They just, it's tough to explain. You got Joe Thomas and Joel Bitonio holding up their own on one side of the line. You got Greco and Schwartz and McDonald Not a lot of experience between them. Greco is a little bit different, but that right side of the line, that the offensive line as a whole just hasn't looked good. You built this team around its run game and its defense. Defense looked good. Defense, looked really good against a Raiders team. They ended up with 387 yards of total offense. A lot of that came on relatively meaning a little bit of stat padding there. None of it intentional, obviously, but the Raiders are just one of those teams that they are what their record is. They're not a very good football team. The Browns are lucky enough to run into back weeks with against bad football teams, and best case scenario now is obviously 2-1. I don't know what to think of this receiving core. I don't know what to think of the defensive line. They didn't seem to get a lot of pressure, but seems like we were less aggressive. They were less aggressive on Sunday and put it on their secondary to win it. And I thought that that group back there, Screen, Hayden, Gibson, Gilbert, Whitner. I thought they held their own. I thought Christian Kirksey played particularly well today. The defense, this is the best defensive game of the season, isn't it? I mean, you'd honestly have to say it. It's the first time that they won a game comfortably this year. That's always a good thing. Oh yeah, actually, they won comfortably against Pittsburgh, but it never feels that way. So, that's really all I've got on this one. I'll write a few words here on morethanafan.net. But hey, Browns 23, Oakland Raiders 13 around the division. Cincinnati knocks off Baltimore, and Baltimore looked pretty unstoppable. So it'll be good to see it's good to see Cincinnati bring them down to earth, even though Cincinnati is right there at 4-2-1 now. I think that Cincinnati's a beatable team for the Cleveland Browns, but I'm not sure exactly what caliber of play that they're capable of at this point, since we haven't seen them play a good football team in a couple of weeks. Pittsburgh's bouncing back, but I don't think that Pittsburgh Steelers team that they played 2 weeks ago is anything near the same as they were when they took the field against Indianapolis in a 51-34 win. And that was a game that they had to keep scoring because they couldn't necessarily stop Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts offense. So, but that's all I've got today. On a good note, Browns 23, Raiders 13. On a bad note, virtually nothing in the rushing game. More and more reason to doubt Brian Hoyer's ability to get the job done. And, this offensive line, they're not going to be able to make huge personnel changes. I mean, the Alex Mack situation is what it is. And it's just something they're going to have to deal with and move on. And hopefully Nick McDonald gets a little bit better with time, and they can figure out what's going on in the running game, because if Jacksonville and Oakland can stop you, then it's a good bet that there's 29 other teams in the league that are capable of doing so as well. So I hope to see better things next week, but it can never be wholly unhappy with a victory. So that's going to do it on Sunday, October 26th. Browns 23, Oakland 13. Browns moved to 4-3 on the year, 3-1 at home. That's a good thing. Raiders dropped to 0-7. We'll be back next week to wrap up Browns versus Buccaneers. Have a good week, everyone, and go Browns.